Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's lightning takes. And let's get right to the news.
I want to start by talking about an article that Hollywood Reporter just posted. So they've been working on an article that's kind of covering succession sagas over the top companies of Hollywood because Lucasfilm isn't the only one who may have a shakeup coming, so to speak. We may have Kennedy leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, they did say that it was probably the end of this year or beginning of next year, that she'd stay on as a producer for some Star Wars projects, but that she's going to be stepping down. Even her "I'm not retiring" speech sounded like I'm not retiring entirely, but I might.
She said she would never retire
from movies.
Yeah, that didn't mean she was never going to leave a Lucasfilm. She just is always going to be a part of the industry, which, sure, okay. Well, she also said she was looking, or they are looking for a replacement, and she wouldn't just leave them. Here's the job, and I'm out of here. She's going to stick around and help, which, I don't know if they need your help, but hey.
So apparently what we're hearing now is that Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni, as well as Head of Development Carrie Beck, are the current top runners from inside of Disney to be the next co-presidents of Lucasfilm.
Co-presidents together?
Co-presidents.
Oh, are there other candidates? Or are
Those
they
are just
going
the front runners. They want to go in-house.
Okay.
There was kind of some rumors about some out-of-house stuff, but I think they have decided they want to stay in-house. I mean, we know what Dave Filoni's accolades are.
Sure.
Carrie Beck, she's been a longtime collaborator with Filoni. She's executive produced a lot of the animated series. She worked in the Mandoverse a bit. I can kind of just run it down, I guess. She's been a member of the Lucasfilm Story Group. She co-created Star Wars Rebels. She worked on Forces of Destiny as an executive producer, as well as executive producer for The Bad Batch. She co-produced the final season of The Clone Wars, and she also was a producer on the second season of Mandalorian.
Okay, so mainly animated stuff she's done, yeah.
She is big in the animated world for Star Wars.
So is Dave,
So is Dave.
Interesting,
and yeah. So what they have officially said, what Hollywood Reporter has said, is Lucasfilm seems likely to follow that path in replacing Kennedy, despite speculation about outside candidates, including the former 20th Century head Emma Watts. Insiders say the company seems most likely to promote from within. The current thinking is a scenario where Dave Filoni and Carrie Beck, both Lucasfilm vets, take co-head roles.
It's weird because you feel like they kind of feel the same role.
Right. They didn't
kind of have the same background.
Two people who do different things.
You would think one of them would be more of a movie person instead of kind of both animated people.
I mean, we know that Filoni's kind of been a golden boy, but he might be too, as Hollywood Reporter put it, too steeped in Star Wars lore and risk steering a show into dense mythology that loses a broader audience. He's not the Andor guy, he's the Ahsoka guy.
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
That is. The Andor guy, as we know, Tony Gilroy, he made it so that anyone, I think, could have started the show and really gotten into it. Dave Filoni does like to jump into his lore, especially the stuff from his animated shows. Yeah. That doesn't always resonate with the audience who's just here because they want to watch some live-action Star Wars.
I don't know. I think sometimes
it can be a little harder to get into, right?
I think it can be harder to understand it entirely because sometimes you're basing it off like, Ahsoka was a lot of Rebels heavy. But sometimes his writing is a lot more, I can just sit down and kind of turn my brain off and watch it, which I'm not trying to be too mean
to him, but you actually know all the references.
Well, sure,
if you're watching Ahsoka for the first time, wouldn't the world between worlds and then the statues at the end, you'd be sitting there going, what was all that?
I agree. I think it's kind of both things at the same time. There's so much of that lore in there from other stuff that if you don't know it, you're kind of lost, yet at the same time the story's so simple that you can follow the story itself. Does that make any sense at all?
It does. It makes sense. So they go on to say, Beck joined the company in 2012. She knows the ins and outs, but neither she nor Filoni has much film experience, which could be mitigated by Kennedy's continued presence as a producer on certain Star Wars projects, ensuring quality control in the short term.
I'm surprised Filoni is being considered because he doesn't have any movie background at all. I mean, yeah, he's worked on the Mando and Grogu movie now, I suppose, but he's just been the animation guy for so long, and I do kind of agree he might be a little too steeped in Star Wars lore sometimes. I feel like he would have a very hard time creating an Andor. I mean, he'd have a hard time because he's not Tony Gilroy, but I mean, sometimes I think he would have a hard time just stepping outside of the box like that and kind of making something that's not like hardcore Star Wars.
I do kind of agree with that
yeah.
So that's kind of where we're standing on what's going on with the Kathleen Kennedy succession story.
Though at the same time, if you do bring in a Gilroy and you have a Filoni there to kind of be like, hey, can you a little bit of this, a little bit of
You
that,
do need a
Star
lore
Wars
guy.
it up a little bit, yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely. I think you do need a lore guy. You do need that person who goes, "Hey, this is some Star Wars lore that kind of surrounds what you're working on. What do you think about how much can you incorporate without alienating the audience?"
Yeah, yeah, maybe it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe him being in a role like that would be better than him being writing Ahsoka and so on. I don't know.
According to Deadline, Disney is going forward with more layoffs. They have laid off hundreds of staff across the business as part of their latest cost cutting measures. Particularly, the staff affected are in the following areas: marketing for film and television, TV publicity, casting and development, and corporate financial operations. Team sizes are being reduced, so the teams aren't being eliminated, but their sizing of the teams is reduced. And what's funny is, didn't we have Tony Gilroy just talk about how he did the $650 million show and they're like, streaming is dead, and now we're hearing that they were cutting stuff for like, TV development?
Maybe streaming is dead. I mean, I don't know that streaming isn't the future
It's
though.
it's not
How it
dead.
can't be the future? Like what else? What else would come along and replace streaming? I just think they're not in as well as like a Netflix is, and they want to
Right.
be. And they figured properties like Marvel and Star Wars were just automatic wins for them. That oh, we make a streaming service that just every year we give a couple Marvel and Star Wars shows, and it'll take care of itself from there.
Well,
We don't have
see,
to put any effort in.
yeah, everything on Disney Plus is Disney made.
Yeah, which is a lot of stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, they have
They
an
really,
extensive catalog, but
well, it helps that they bought Hulu. You know, they got
yeah,
Hulu, and then they got
20th Century
ESPN.
Fox, and they've got
If
all
they
kinds of
didn't get
stuff.
these
Yeah,
other acquisitions, their streaming service would be suffering, I think.
yeah. But there's rarely anything new on Disney Plus. Is my biggest problem with it. It is. I'm
Talking
sure
about
there's a lot
Snow
of
White's going to be up there this month.
no, but new. That's I mean, what I mean is like new shows.
I know.
Like if it's not Marvel or Star Wars, I don't even know that they put anything else out. I know there's
True.
like the Percy checks, and they did Willow. They've done a few other things,
It's part of
sure,
the
but
problem because they cover such a broad category. I mean,
no, I
something
don't think
like
they.
HBO is like, they'll put out like 8, 9 different shows, and a lot of them are all themed for adults.
I don't know that HBO even puts out. I don't know that any of these, except for like Netflix and probably Amazon, puts out a ton too. But a lot of them just, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like Disney, of all of them, I never hear about any of their shows outside of Star Wars and Marvel. Whereas the other ones, they'll put out a show like, oh yeah, I heard of that. They did this and that. And
And if you do hear about a show coming from the Disney Plus app, it's because they're watching Hulu through it. So I
yeah,
know
but it's
like
not.
Handmaid's Tale just finished. They had Shogun. Those were Hulu, not Disney.
Yeah, I'm talking specifically Disney Plus. There's never anything new on there that I am aware of anyway. It's only just the one or two Star Wars and Marvel shows that come out every year. And a lot of the times, if those aren't hits, then it's like, what am I watching this for, paying for?
Well, you're not wrong. I mean, Disney shows do kind of struggle to break into the Nielsen top 10.
Yeah, which is really sad when you again have Marvel and Star Wars. You should think that's an automatic top 10 every time, but
Mm-hmm.
they've done so much damage, I would say, to both those franchises at this point that so many people just don't care or they're oversaturated with it. It's like, do we need another Marvel random show? Do we need Ironheart, which I think is supposed to come out soon?
Them cutting staff is worrisome, especially after the comment Tony Gilroy saying that Disney said streaming is dead.
I don't know if I mean, it's worrying if you work at Disney, that's for sure.
If you work at Disney in marketing or TV or
I mean,
casting,
it's a shame because really the formula should have and could work. The whole Marvel and Star Wars and maybe you sprinkle in a few other
mm-hmm.
shows every now and then. Like if it's good, it would work. Like if you keep doing Andor, and I know that was $650 million, but if you keep doing stuff near that level, it doesn't have to be Andor.
Right? Doesn't all have to be it.
People are gonna come. People will watch it. But anyway, I think that's gonna be all we got for you this time. It is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of any and all of today's news, and let's talk some Star Wars. And so until next time, thanks for watching.